sessions. You are, you've been getting up to this point of how you capture a lead, how you get your lead, and now, once you come to this point, what do you do with it? And the transition into getting a closed transaction. So we're going to go through that process today. So today we're going to cover keeping every lead, how to follow up with those leads, strengthening those relationships, and then qualifying potential buyers and sellers. So what is lead follow-up? How to follow up with the lead. Post-lead follow-up, we're going to go over any ahas, things you might pick up today that are new to you, and the daily success system. So I don't know, have you been doing all of the sessions so far, Alicia?
No, this is our first.
Oh,
but I've sat in on.
Okay, cool.
Because it's our first, I don't know if everyone else is always on the call, but if you have time, I'd love to, if people could introduce themselves.
Oh, yes.
But I don't want to rush you.
Yeah, no, there is if anybody who is logged in online, and have a minute, then want to kind of introduce themselves and where you are in your real estate journey. No pressure, but if you're interested to share.
We can go too.
Yes, okay.
I can introduce the both of us, but for anybody who's in the room, my name is Alicia Walker. Or not in the room, listening.
Yeah.
And this is my dad, Dave, and we work together. I'm his daughter, and we also work with my mom who does mortgages. So we've got a team. But I just wanted to know who else is on the call.
Yeah, we never meet these people.
Right.
Yeah, and it's also helpful when you're talking to know what stage everybody's at.
Yes.
I think so too.
Absolutely. I know I see that Bronwyn just logged in. She is a new agent with the Hawkins Home team.
Oh, so exciting.
Yeah, so welcome, Bronwyn.
Hi. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other takers for introductions?
Does Elsie know she's pinned to our screen?
I don't think so.
Sorry?
I said, you're the only face I can see on the screen.
You're pinned to the screen.
Oh,
Yes, everybody else has their cameras off, so we just see you, Elsie.
oh, well, that's fun.
Yeah.
My name's Elsie. I just started this week with the 705 Realty team. Yeah. I'm pretty new, so I've just kind of been shadowing Nikki the last 3 days, and I have been joining the training sessions. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Fantastic.
Congrats.
Yeah, welcome. That's exciting. Next slide.
I can go next if you like.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, yes. Somebody else. Yes, absolutely.
So my name is Andrea. I'm with the Lindenite team. I'm also very new. I've done a few transactions, but absolutely learning and trying to grow.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrea.
Nice to meet you.
I can also introduce myself. I just said hi, but I popped in as you guys are doing introductions. So I'm Bronwyn Gilchrist, and I'm fairly new. I'm working with the Hawking Homes team, and I'm excited about learning more about following up and turning leads into some appointments.
Fantastic. Yeah. Yay. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. That was nice. Our first slide here, as we're getting into the material, I'll get started, is kind of the life of a lead, and also kind of the lifespan of a client potentially making a move. So, so the average is about 7 to 10 years that people think about making a move, and kind of the timing of when you want to be making those connections with that potential contact, potential lead. If they make a move, you know, you can see on that downswing in the image there is that you're going to be you'll be waiting quite a while, you know, because they could be another 5 years out. But meeting people, capturing those leads in that upswing, where they may be thinking of doing something in, you know, 1 to 3 years. It just kind of the timing, but you can see the way that life cycle kind of works, and why continuing to nurture leads is so important. And it's almost an ongoing basis. It never ends. Dave, you would know, it's just it's a constant cycle of keeping in touch and being top of mind. So the framework of lead follow-up, you have possible business, probable business, and then your profitable business. So those are those people that are actually doing transactions. So just a nice little image there. If you aren't first or second in their mind, you probably won't get the business. A lot of buyers and sellers, and actually we get into this a little bit later, only interview one agent. It's actually a startling percentage as we get through. So being first in their mind when they think about real estate services is really important. So being able to nurture those relationships through the course of a long span, whether it means working with that individual directly or getting referrals, and having that life cycle can continue on where you're the person that they think of when they think of selling real estate or buying real estate. So this kind of gets into that mind share of how you can be top of mind. And actually, if I could just, I don't know if you can do little thumbs up for people that are online, but people that are using Command for their CRM. Do you guys do that?
No, we don't.
Yes, thumbs up. Yeah, hands up. Perfect. Couple people. Awesome. Yeah, so using Command or any CRM of your choice, they function the same, will streamline the ability to be making constant kind of touches on your database and those potential clients and nurturing those leads throughout kind of the lifespan. So, so for a lead, yes, is 19 touches to connect. So 4 touches of quarterly phone calls. So 4 times a year, that's 4 touches. 12 touches within that time span. That can be a monthly email, a newsletter, market reports. 2 additional touches for promotional material, calendars, something in person, little pop-bys. And then 1 touch is like a larger event. So whether you do something with your team, an annual event, a barbecue, they use an example of a movie, some sort of client appreciation or get together as an additional touch measure. And then with your contacts, they're recommending it's a 36 touch to convert. So keeping them you're connecting with leads at 19 touches, and they're saying, but you need more than that to be able to convert those to transactions. So you're still doing the 4 telephone calls, quarterly calls, but then you're really bumping up those other touches. So you have 26 other touch points. So bi-weekly emails, any kind of market information. If you're using Command, there is a neighborhood touch smart plan that is auto-generated that you can send, that sends out every 2 weeks. You can set it to monthly, but you can also set it to bi-weekly. And essentially you just choose the neighborhood that your client, so if I'm working with a seller, You choose the neighborhood they live in, because everyone likes to know what their neighbors are selling for, how things are going in their neighborhood. And if you're working with a buyer, I'll pin their choice of neighborhood for where they aspire to move. If they're buyers and sellers, I'll pin both neighborhoods. You can add as many neighborhoods as you want, and it'll send them a really pretty email for what's going on in those key neighborhoods. So it's easy. It doesn't have to be tedious to be doing all these touches. And then again, repeated the 2 touches for events or get-togethers, pop-bys, and then calendars. So regurgitated there. But again, it's just increasing that frequency to keep that, ability to be top of mind.
Can I say something on the 36 touch, if that's okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
In Commando, we don't use Command except for clients, but
Yeah.
I use the resources all the time.
Okay.
And like people in Command obviously are posting and sharing so you can access their templates. But there are some really, really, really good 36 touch plans.
Yeah.
Where people have literally shared like their monthly newsletter, like it's all, and they've created YouTube videos alongside of it to walk you through how to use it and what to customize. So
Yeah.
I like when you actually are looking for it, I think there's so much to
There's
use. So
Lots.
much.
Yeah, and you can automate a lot too. Twilio, I don't know if you have that linked to anything. I don't use that
I have them.
personally. Have you? Okay. That sends out automated text messages. For our business, I try to be like, I use the smart plans that suggest the text, but then
You
I
can just text it. Yeah.
do it myself. Yeah,
You better just send it one out.
exactly. Just in case there's any errors.
And you don't want your number to get spammed.
Right. But yeah, so this is a nice list of ideas, and a pretty consistent thread of how many touches you should be doing with leads, contacts, even if you're a brand new agent, putting names into your database of your hairdresser, your mechanic, your aunt, your uncle, whoever, and putting them into some of these plans, because if they're not buying or selling real estate, they might know somebody that is, or that will, in the near future, and to be nurturing them without even feeling like you're not treating them like a lead per se, but you're nurturing all of those, you're nurturing the relationships,
And
right?
staying in their mind is the,
Yes.
but for anyone just starting out, like 36 overall, but it's
Yeah.
really just 4 a month.
It's not,
So like at the
yeah.
start of the month, we just sit and we're like, what are we gonna do for our 4? And I think that makes it really manageable. And a touch is a touch. Like
Yeah.
one event, you might invite them, remind them,
Yes.
and follow up after. Like that could be your 4.
Absolutely. And I do recommend doing it like at the beginning of the year, or I mean, we're into March now, so just do for the remaining of the calendar year. Write it out, for each month. Write out what touches you want to do for all of your database, whether it's a newsletter that you want to do, it's a market update once a month. If you want to do, Happy Easter, or, there's lots of things, any holidays, long weekends, little things that you can just reach out to people about. This is a great template to work on. So I recommend kind of either jotting this down or take a photo of that screen.
And time changes this weekend. Everyone can do time change.
Yes, spring forward, everybody. Although now our cell phones are all,
Just do it.
they do it for us. But when you had to you have to change your microwave clock, I guess. You still need.
In your vehicle.
Yeah, exactly.
But I just saw last time change, somebody posted, I'm ever glad I know every realtor. They're reminding me to.
Every realtor is going to send you a,
Yeah.
yes, spring forward. Here's a list of considerations for your lead follow-up program. So, when you're working on your business in real estate, you want to do things that feel natural to you as well. Someone can create that wheel and say, okay, you're supposed to do this, this, and this, but you're going to want to customize it for what works for you. So think about what your strengths are when you're working with people. How can you customize these touch plans to make it feel authentic? Also, what are some reasons that you might have for contacting any lead? Now for a lead that you had at an open house, for example, it might be you might have to get a little bit more creative about, what's the next thing I can reach out to them about? Is it a price reduction for a listing that was similar, or, but wanting to come from a place of contribution rather than sales focused, and then kind of leading those conversations so they know you're in real estate, they know how to contact you, and you're there to help. So with your lead nurturing as well, time blocking is a big thing. So when are you going to do all of these lead follow-ups and lead nurtures? So based on your calendar, what works best for you, if you have another career, if you have kids, if there's a lot of things that we juggle every day. And what time can you really carve out to know that you're going to do your lead follow-up? Because it's between lead generation and lead follow-up. I mean, those are the things that are going to continue to grow and propel your business. And it's really important that it goes into your calendar, and you're treating it with utmost importance. So. Okay. And here's actually kind of another breakdown. This is actually a really great chart that gives some more ideas from the touches that we talked about. So birthday cards is another one that actually we didn't mention earlier. If you know your potential lead quite well, if you know that their kid's on a hockey team or they like a certain sport, you can always try to incorporate, or they know they like cars, you can try to customize things. If you know an event is coming up that could be of interest, something in the neighborhood that you know that they live in. So yeah, and you can organize, there's one suggestion here for a park cleanup. Not all of these things cost, some of these things are free. Sending a text, making a call, a lot of the newsletters, market reports, even birthday card, like you can do it electronically, you can send e-cards. So it doesn't cost a lot to be able to be top of mind to your sphere, in your database, and as you collect leads. Focus on value. So wanting to make sure that anytime you're reaching out to a potential lead or a contact, again, going back to that place of contribution, you don't want them to feel like you're spamming them ever. Because that's one way to get them to, unsubscribe. And then, any of your material going forward isn't going to get to them, right? Especially if you're using email solicitation and whatnot. So making it personal. So if you're doing even market updates, I do a market update for most of my clients every 90 days, but I have it staggered, so it's not super overwhelming, but it's spread out throughout the year. And I do it it's quite generic market update that I do for a period of time. I give myself, 30 days to, okay, this is still valid unless something crazy happens in the market. But I'll do about, every month I kind of will come up with one thing, and I have that much time to send it out to everybody. But I always customize the first couple, sentences to them. So it's how's the kids, how's, just little things. If I know that they were going on a holiday or anything. And then I get into the market report, and then I include a link, a hyperlink for anything that has traded in their area, active and sold over 90 days. And I do a hyperlink that's custom to them.
So how are you doing that? Are you just doing that through the real estate boards?
Yeah, so I'll go onto Matrix, I'll do up a search. So what I do is in Matrix or Realm or whatever you're using, I will. So if you look in my saved searches,
You got them for everyone.
Pretty much. It's geographic and then specific to housing style. So I'll have, very north end bungalows, very poly 2-story detached. And I have it all kind of for lots of different types of properties, lots of styles. And then when I'm writing these notes to people, I don't have to keep doing the same search for everybody. So you might have multiple clients that are in the same area. So it makes it faster.
And then, so when you're sending those emails, you're not sending them new search every time. You're just reminding them of the link they already have access to.
I think the link will probably expire. Yeah. So I do a new, so I do a new search. I activate the search again.
Yep.
So it will capture
Updated
information. Yeah.
That's really, I like that.
Yeah.
Then there's also a market update button in the search.
Oh, on,
Yeah, so when you're in it, you can hit that market update one, and it'll do it for.
well, I didn't know what that other.
So you know, when you pull in you have a safe search or
Yeah.
email, you pull down a little arrow and then it gives you about 7 or 8 headings.
Yes.
One of them is market update.
Well, let's see. Okay, I learned something new too.
I didn't know you could customize one-home searches. I thought
Yeah.
they were all supposed to be blue until I looked at it. It's blue.
The colors, yeah.
You can,
Oh, you
Yeah.
pick your theme.
you can change those.
Yeah. So you can customize anything, make it personal.
You used to put your banner and everything in.
Yeah.
Now it says code.
And then always including, not always, but if it's appropriate, adding statistics and data onto, so you have accurate information for your clients to share. Which is important because if you're wanting to, you have the warm and fuzzy clients, and then you have like the stats driven clients, depending on, how where their focus is.
Because you personalize it
Mhm.
and you already have the safe search, you
Yeah.
can also hit the stats button and
Yes,
send that to them.
And I
It's
yes.
a consolidation of that.
absolutely. Yeah.
That would be.
Get started. I don't want to talk too much.
No,
I have more thoughts.
Yeah.
On your topic, your thought about spamming people, I think
Mhm.
that's also where your tags really kind of important. And I think command is really easy to create tags, but
Yeah.
like literally we feel stupid in our database, but the more you can put in about that person, like you were just talking about personality types.
Yeah.
We started tagging people based on their DISC, like DISC.
Oh.
So that way, when someone pulls up their file, you know how to communicate to them.
That's
But
nice.
also, like, personal content doesn't have to actually be personal to that specific person.
Right.
It has to be personal to the interest. So if you get a hockey
Yeah.
tag, and every time there was a really big hockey win or something,
Mhm.
you just gotta blast out that group of people.
Yeah.
And it's so much more not seen as spam.
Yes. And they might think it's just to them.
Yeah,
They
totally.
might not even realize
That's the
that.
purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But when
Yeah.
she says we, she meant she.
Yeah.
Because I never did.
Running the database. Potential lead sources. So getting back to where those leads are coming from. So we're talking about what to do with them and how to nurture them. And here's some lead sources. There's just a list here of where you might meet people on your day-to-day adventures. People calling in, community events, open houses, your social media, traditional marketing. I don't know if there's a lot of people doing like newspapers, but postcards, things like that.
But people will read their mail though. It sucks and it's dated, but people don't always read your email.
Right.
If something has their name on it in the mail, they'll at least open it.
And
Like,
if you hand, right.
Totally.
And actually,
Yeah.
the trends of snail mails can make it a rebound.
Is it?
Yeah. And that's going back for another, all of the year that they've been saying mail people.
Is gonna come back.
Just because they get
Yeah.
overrun with all this.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing. It used to be, you got so much junk mail in
Totally.
Canada Post that everything was going into the recycling box. And now you're right, Dave. I think
Yeah.
it's kind of flipped where our inboxes are just completely full of someone trying to sell something to us, whether it's, I don't know, all these
Anything.
companies. It's Nike, it's Sports Check, Sephora, I don't know, whatever you website too frequent. So trying to pull people away from that, and trying to reach out to them in another way. Even a text message, it's just, again, off that platform. And then when you are talking to those individuals, trying to fit in those key questions, to slide real estate in there, why are you thinking about buying or selling? Tell me more about that. What will this do for your family? And I think going 3 deep there and saying it's great that you want to move, but what will it do for you? So what is it? It's that extra little bit of that personal connection to make it seem a little bit more genuine. And here is a great little graphic for kind of that life cycle of how, like I said, it never really ends for for lead follow-up and nurturing, because no matter where people fall within your database, whether they come in as a cold lead, whether it's a contact from someone in your sphere or a person that you've known who there's a history with, you're going to keep them in this cycle, because again, being top of mind will hopefully increase your chance of them doing business with you when they are ready. So you can see how you kind of pull through this. It's like a funnel, and keeping those touches consistent over years.
It's like a funnel with holes. You just want to keep patching the holes.
That is a very good analogy. So cementing the relationship, high value touch items. So again, just being authentic, show that you care. If you're only sending out an email every so often, that's probably not going to cement the relationship. You do want to pick up the phone, try to get a face-to-face. You want to get a face-to-face meeting, and to really, increase the chances of them transacting with you. I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in a relationship, in relationship with me. So this is like a little mantra that I think you're supposed to tell yourself before you make your contacts, to give you a good mindset on coming from a place of contribution. So you don't feel like you're selling to your lead sources or your database, but that you're coming from a place of, you're assisting and you're providing a service, and you're the expert, and you have value to share.
That's what I want for you, not from you.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So we went over keeping every lead and all of the cycles there. So now we're going to talk about following up with leads. The effort you give to converting leads must match the effort you give to generating them. So, and that was Gary Keller in the book Shift. So we know that lead generation is very important, but if all you do is lead generate and keep a big book of names and phone numbers because you captured a lead and then you do nothing with it, it's not going to propel you forward. So essentially what he's saying in that quote is that you must match that effort. So lead gen, very important. Lead follow-up and that nurture is equal as so. Like he's saying, match that effort. And I feel like nurturing those leads can be more, I don't say easier, but it's already, you've made a connection with them already. So it shouldn't be scary to reach out to people that you've already made connections with, or, exchanged met at an open house, they passed along their name, their number. So it shouldn't be something that you're nervous. It should be you're excited about keeping up with that connection.
It also say, don't treat a lead for what it costs you to get, treat it for what it's worth if you get them to completion. Because
Right.
often if a lead comes too easy,
Yeah.
it doesn't get followed up.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of, not that we should look at people as paychecks,
No.
but you kind
Yeah.
of look at them and you're like, that could be a
Right.
$15,000 commission. So
Yeah.
it makes you a little more eager to.
Well, yeah,
What it could be worth.
right, like a realtor.ca lead or something, like if you have a listing and somebody is inquiring on a listing, if they inquire on a Sunday night at 5 p.m., but you still have to, follow up and start that nurturing process, right?
Even open
Yeah.
houses, people look at
Yeah.
open houses as like, oh, you don't want this house. It's like, people never buy the house
Right.
they went in off of. It's
Yeah.
about the relationship and.
And
Sorry.
yeah, no, absolutely. Speak up. Yeah. So here's another little chart on, capture, connect.
No.
I'm gonna sit you up here. Yeah.
No, I meant, we're the only ones here. So it feels like we're doing all that.
So capture, connect, cultivate, and close. We want to get them from 1 to step 3. You'll see the numbers kind of go, because not always when you capture and connect with somebody, there might be a delay. Like we said, we looked at that 7 to 10 year lifespan of when somebody might be transacting. You might have a cultivate time there that could go quite long. And then after they close, you're going to still want to cultivate. So it's like a loop at the end there where you're, cultivating, close, and then continue to cultivate, and hopefully with repeat business, close again. So wanting to identify back to that, possible business, probable, and profitable business. This is kind of where they are in that cycle, right? So possible business, maybe they're looking at moving over the next handful of years. Somebody that's a little bit more active as probable business, and then profitable business, like, 0 to 30 days, like they're doing business now, and you're really going to want to kick it up a notch for how you're nurturing that lead, getting that appointment, and following up.
And you can even segment your database under those titles.
Absolutely.
I've never.
Yes.
I like those better than
Yes.
A, B, C.
Right. Yeah. Yes. So exactly. And in using command, you can do this in
Is it stage?
yes, you can put people under stages in your database where you can kind of figure out,
And then
and not to put dollar signs on leads. But if you put their price point in the commission, it'll calculate your possible commission, probable,
Right.
and then, it'll calculate those percentages for you. So if you are numbers driven, it will, it will do that for you.
I don't think that's wrong either, because if you took the money away, we wouldn't be here.
Right.
That's-
Yes.
It's not wrong. to-
No,
Or to calendarize it, if you took your 20%, only have so much time to make calls, why not make calls to the profitable people in the highest price range?
low hanging fruit.
But just don't forget about
Yeah.
the rest of it.
Right, keep them on, continue to nurture. So capturing is defined as, collecting the minimum amount of contact information from a potential buyer seller. So if you're door knocking, getting phone number, you already have their address if you're door knocking. open house, yeah, any sort of contact information that is considered a capture. And then here's a little bit of their client framework or scripting of how to get a hold, like, so to encourage people to give you a little bit of that information. So, yeah, if I were to need to contact you, what number would that be? And if I found exactly what you're looking for, how would I contact you? So just trying to make it sound a little natural on getting them to give you their information. Best practices for connections. So your unique value proposition. Trying to put that into the conversation when you're speaking with potential clients. Role play and practice conversations. We have scripting classes that they've done here in the past.
Wednesdays or Wednesday mornings.
Is that one Sam?
Yeah.
Park? Yeah. And he does that.
I think every week.
Virtually? Is it on?
No,
Monday?
it's in person. Brennan goes regularly,
Oh, okay.
I think. I've seen Sam in person, so I think it's first thing Wednesday morning.
Okay.
In it here,
Here.
but I could be wrong.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to brush,
He does virtual also.
does he? Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So brushing up on the role play is can be valuable. And then
The person who talks, do you go? Do you like them? This is a safe space.
yeah.
Never mind.
And then knowing the outcome that you want from the conversation. So use the questions to kind of lead to what you are hoping to get out of it. You're always on. Like 6 connection questions. So finding out who they are, what do they want or need to do, where do they want to do it, why do they want to do it. So again, that's kind of going that 3 or 4 deep. When, finding out a lead's timeline for a potential transaction, and then how, like, do they have a plan? Have they gone to their mortgage broker? Have they, so. Cultivate. Yeah. You can't know or predict when they will come to a decision, but if you're reconnecting with them in a systematic way, you'll have a great chance of being there when they do. That's when you'll be able to close for an appointment. So again, just always, like, so that, yeah, I feel like repeating myself a little bit, but yes, always continuing that cultivation process, because you don't know when. And you don't know when their neighbor might want to sell and they could refer you. You don't know when that timeline, if some, kids go away to university, or like something happens, something can shift or change in someone's life pretty drastically, and quickly. You don't really know when somebody has to, move from a 2-story house to a bungalow all of a sudden because they can't do stairs anymore. Like there's lots of reasons that somebody might change their plan for when and why they need to make a move. And so just continuing to always cultivate with all of these touch points, just increases your chance that you're going to be the person that they think of.
And I think sometimes we can misjudge no engagement as they don't see value in that,
Yes.
which is totally not
Yeah.
true. Just because somebody's not responding,
Yeah.
don't unsubscribe somebody until they say unsubscribe.
Right. Yeah.
Because as someone, I think at Family Reunion used the example of the people you always invite to your events would never show up.
Right.
But then you see them in person, they're like, I couldn't make it, but it meant
Yeah.
so much when you invited me.
Yeah.
Just because somebody's not giving you the outcome you want doesn't mean they don't actually, that touch is not having the impact you think it is.
Right. Yeah. And using command, sorry, I'm going to keep referencing it.
We use it for
You
compliance.
use, okay.
Yeah.
I love command.
So in command, when you so if you have people set up on any of the neighborhood searches, you can see when people have been active most recently. So you can, you can be sending out monthly or bi-weekly messages with updates, and they could, yeah, you could hear nothing back. And then you go into your client list and you can see, active 2 days ago, and they've looked at, a dozen properties through your site, linking from the information that you're sending to them, but they don't actually contact you at all. They're just quietly in the background, but Command is really lovely in that way, where you can kind of spy and see what they're doing. So that way, like, okay, even though they're not responding to me necessarily from something that I'm sending to them, they're looking at it, and then they're kind of going on their own little journey, looking at properties and the neighborhood resources and everything that's there. So they're using the tools. So then you kind of, it does validate, okay, they are finding this useful.
And that aspect of it, what you're talking about, makes lead generation fun, when you can see what they're doing, they're opening this, they're reading this, yeah.
Absolutely. So your CRM, can you see if they've opened it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
We can
perfect.
see how many times
Yeah.
they open the page.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's actually very, in that side, it's probably more powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, which is fantastic, because then you know that they've opened it. So then that can even be another follow-up point, because then you can reach out to them and say, hey, you got my email, did you have it, and you already know that they did. So it's just, yeah, and you can kind of gauge your communication with
And
them.
I think we were talking with Gil at one of the events, the tech guy.
Yeah.
And he said they're introducing AI to it, I think this week.
I think they're trying to help, it'll
Move them from stage to stage if they open something.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
and I think they're working on it so that if it sees their file, reviews it, but then suggests what your next action should be.
Oh, I'm starting to see previews of that. Where it'll summarize almost a whole client history on,
Who you should be calling. Based on this, you should be calling these people.
Yeah.
Or based on this is what you should say back right now.
Yeah. So lots of neat ways to cultivate those relationships.
Sorry, one more thing on that.
Yes.
Even when in your emails, we're putting multiple links and knowing what they clicked on, so then you can make it really specific to what, like say you had a buyer offer, a seller offer, and some other thing. Based on what they clicked, you know what they're thinking.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
what the best next step is.
Yeah. No, it's
I
fantastic.
hope that's helpful.
Yeah, it is, because it's all providing value. And then you can from using the information that you're getting back from those touch points, you can figure out how to continue to communicate with them and keep them in that cultivating, nurturing process. No, that's great. Close. So this time I'm closing the appointment and asking for an appointment most effectively. So I've been posing a question. What is the most effective way? So text message, email, phone call, in person. Yeah, you're asking.
I think in person would be the most effective because it's really hard to say no to someone in person.
There is. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. If you're in front of somebody.
I was gonna say all of them.
Yeah. Well, I don't actually, there's no secret about what the answer here. Any way that you can
Make sure you ask.
just ask for the appointment. Yeah, exactly. And sometimes clients, individuals, they have their own preferred method of how they want to be communicated to. So I think you're right, David. Any and all, as long as you're asking, right? So,
Ideally in person.
yeah.
Anyway.
How do you say? Yeah, you can't say no to right to your face. Yeah, exactly.
Next time I'd like to call you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
If you don't answer, I'm gonna email you.
yeah.
I'll be about your new city.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're going multiple views, all right, they'll probably get back.
Just I'm gonna paraphrase. Okay, so Yeah, if they have a good enough reason to meet, they'll meet. If they don't, they won't. Like, either way,
Life happens.
Life
It
happens.
doesn't-
yes.
I think maybe another underlying point from that is that sometimes we feel like we're inconveniencing people, but if they're agreeing to meet with us, they see value. Like at the end of the day, we can sell their house for the most money possible in the least amount of time. Everybody wins.
Right.
So stop feeling like a bother. If you
Right.
genuinely believe you have the ability to help them.
Yeah, yeah. And if they're not interested in your service at that point in time, that's okay. They're gonna do what they want to do. Like, you're not gonna talk somebody into buying a house that doesn't want to buy a house or sell their home that's not thinking of selling. So just, asking for that appointment, and if they want to meet with you, they will, but ask.
Miss 100% of the shots you don't
Yeah.
take.
Exactly.
Are you dating a hockey player?
Improving your conversion rate. So, with nurturing and the touch points that we've been going over, it's going to increase your success of being top of mind and converting those leads to a transaction. So one of the ways that you can increase the odds for you as a real estate professional is to make sure you're doing the nurturing and the follow-ups. So time blocking, using systems and use systems in conversation. So again, using your database and have a systematic, whether it's a touch plan, regardless of what CRM you're using, connecting with your whole database. So not to be laser focused on, the new lead that you just got at the open house last weekend, although they are very important, continuing to be communicating with everybody, because you don't know when somebody might decide to make a change. So continuing to just connect with everybody, regardless of how soon you think that they're going to transact. I mean, you look at somebody who's maybe walking through an open house, maybe you think, okay, they're going to transact quite soon. So you can kind of, you'll go all in there, but don't forget about the other people that you know. So being able to kind of cover it all and continue to base your whole database is important. And then prioritize the qualifying leads. So whether that's a tagging system, you do still want to, those people that are 0 to 30 days, 30 to 60 days, those hot leads, you are going to want to prioritize them. But just don't make sure you don't forget about everybody else in the meantime. Lead conversion model. This image looks the same as a couple slides ago, but so capturing the appropriate information, connecting and assessing their needs to establish that relationship, cultivating the relationship, and then ask for the appointment. So pretty straightforward. This system. Okay, we're going to focus on strengthening those relationships. So establish mindset, identify your goals, leads versus contacts. So when you're putting leads into your database, they're giving you kind of permission to have a conversation with them. So they've given you their contact information for whatever reason. If you do paid ads on, Facebook or Instagram, they can pull right into your database and it's giving you that right to contact them. Sometimes it's a one-way conversation, right? You want to move people from that kind of cold lead into a contact. So now it's engaging in a two-way conversation. And then you're establishing that value-based relationship. So then you start, if you're sending them listings, you're booking an appointment for a CMA, whatever the case may be, but kind of you're wanting to move them along in that cycle. Start with mindset. Today's conversation is tomorrow's transaction. She's watering her flowers.
We look at it in 90 days. Whatever you do now is your 90-day paycheck. So if you think you're busy now, really you were doing the right things 90 days ago.
Absolutely, yes. Once you meet your new contacts, you either do business with them immediately or you don't. Either way, once you've met them, put them in your database and stay in touch with them forever. I think we've been hammering that home. And that was Gary Keller from Shift. So lead generation, lead follow-up with your lead conversion, and then leading to a transaction. So identifying their goals, convert contacts into closed business, staying top of mind. This slide I thought was really interesting. It shows, okay, so sellers in 74% only interview one agent. Out of buyers, 75% of buyers only interview one agent. 15% on both interview two. So by being the person that they think of, gets you to the table, and there might not be anybody else because I think these numbers are really interesting. So if you're able to, to be constantly reaching out,
Get
in their face. Yes. Yeah. But it shows how important those touches and like those really rooted relationships are to lead to who they want to do business with. Leverage mindshare for referral business. So I did kind of touch on this earlier, but again, you never know who, their neighbor or a friend. You don't know when somebody in one of your contacts' lives is going to want to do business. And a lot of the times people want to do business with people that they love and trust, work with. So a lot of the times people will ask, hey, do you know a good mechanic? Because, my car is making a funny noise. And same thing with, with a lot of service industries, right? So, using all of this format and these touches to gain referral business. As of last year, I think 70% of our business is repeat and referral. So, and a lot of the times it's my son, my daughter, my neighbor, my person I rode on the GO train with. It's, those are those people that you end up doing business with if you're doing a good job of keeping in touch with your clients.
And we tend to forget that and chase the 10%.
Exactly.
All of our effort into social media.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. The people you don't know. Right. Yeah.
And it also doesn't hurt to ask for referrals. Like sometimes you feel greedy, but like just saying I don't know. It's really not that awkward of a conversation to have once you do ask for it and incorporate into your everyday language.
Yeah.
People want to, oh, actually, now that you say that, I do know so-and-so and I'll pass your name along.
And you don't be
Yeah.
asking referrals, you know, for your services. So if
Yeah.
you
Sorry.
anybody you know are looking for, like, you know,
Yeah.
asking for, you're not wrong. People
Yeah.
do say, do you have any referrals? But that's not the way to ask for.
Yeah.
Very true.
Touch plan, so design every touch to provide value. This is the same chart as before. If you didn't take a photo of this chart earlier, I would maybe suggest taking a photo of this now, because I think it has some great tips there on how you can create, increase those touches, because it can sound overwhelming if you're not sure what to do. But you can really, with systematized processes, you can do those 36 touch points throughout an entire year to your database without it being super time consuming at all. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite of your 36 touch plan, a favorite touch? Or a touch that you find people
Respond.
the most to or like?
It's the 90-day market update that I do.
It's just like that almost.
Because even though I have systematized it, it does feel very personal. So I find that people respond to that. And then just honestly, the simple text messages. Like I'll drive by an area where, you know, I might have sold somebody a property. And like, oh, I was just in your area. I was thinking of you. Like very simple. You know, I hope you're well. And not asking for business, but they know what I do for a living because I already sold them their house. And just seeing, hi, how are you? Like, how are you? Want to grab a, you know, sometimes depending on how that client relationship is, but going to meet for a coffee or popping in to drop something off. If it's a certain time of year, you can always spin it into thing and, you know, make some. I know the 5 Points delivered a lot of pies at Thanksgiving, so you can always kind of, but I think I think the value for the 90-day market update for our business, and then just, those random text messages. And I try to send quite a few of them to add to those touches, right?
And it's easy.
Easy.
And you can track it, like.
Yeah.
You don't actually, it would just.
And you're already adding to it. It is one of your touches.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. How about for your own business? What do you find people gravitate to the most, where you feel like they're really appreciating that touch point?
This was a takeaway from February, and I think I do it, but it was emphasized that I like them to think of me as the economist. If there's
Okay.
anything to do with real estate, they want to know, or mortgages.
Yeah.
And I think we do.
Of setting that.
Yeah,
Like that.
anything you
that's
need to
about-
know about
Yeah.
that, it's us, we want you to connect.
Right. Yeah, so if they see a news blip across, you know, about some update, or they're like, oh, I'm gonna call Dave and the Walker team. I'm gonna verify that information. Yeah.
Rate hold announcements too.
Yeah.
I know everyone does them, so they're not that valuable to touch. Well, not that they're not that valuable, they are valuable,
Mhm.
but everyone does them.
Yeah.
But we are so ready when the rate announcements happen. We have like 3 different versions of the email typed out,
Okay.
and we just sit and wait for the announcement. So a lot of time people say, I got a lot of emails, but you were the first.
You beat the Bank of Canada.
Right.
You know,
So I think that's where we
Yes.
created that. I don't know how it's supposed to reveal that,
Yeah.
that secret, but
No, but I think.
in the way
I
you
think it's
do
great.
it.
Yeah.
Newsletters. We did a giveaway recently for past clients. I found people actually liked because it was specific to past clients and they were good value giveaways, I found.
Okay. Did they have to register? How did they? or-
Yes, they had to register, but we already had their contact info, so it wasn't like,
They just have to click which prize they wanted.
Okay.
it was just we didn't have to make them share anything. 'cause
Okay.
We already
wanted,
have it, we'll show past
we
clients.
wanted to feel like, thank you
It was
for,
just for
But it was
that.
very engaging.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
And it's also nice too, because people, when they filled out the form, weren't necessarily putting in the email you had on file.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
sometimes it was like updating without ever having to call and be like, what was?
right.
Mhm.
Yeah, and a touch point that's a pretty special event or a thing that you organize. So now you are even further into the top of their
Yeah.
mind. And if they do bump into that, friend in the grocery store the next day or the day after, and they happen to say something about real estate, and then, oh yeah, my real estate team. Like, yeah, I won a prize. Like, and then it's a really lovely, positive experience. Yeah.
And we think of it as one touch because,
Yeah.
it's one giveaway, but we
Yeah.
realistically did an initial email, we did a follow-up reminder email, and then we did 2 other Valentine's Day touches that had that offer in it, a
Okay.
reminder again.
Embedded in it.
We did date ideas for every budget.
Okay.
So like short budget, medium budget, big budget.
That's fun.
And then we did something else Valentine's related.
Yeah, I think the point here is, when you say do 36 touches a year, it seems like a lot to somebody.
Yeah.
When you methodically think it through, you could easily get to 60 touches a year. We
Absolutely.
just, like you said, you send something out with a follow-up on it.
Yeah.
And we posted the winners. So that's like 6 touches right there.
Right. Yeah.
And then you got other people who won, like, so it's always just
Right,
engaging.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I think tracking it is so important. So whether, you do a master list throughout the year, and again, being methodical in how you're doing it. So great. Crafting the message. So so using the 6 connection questions.
It was funny back then.
Yeah.
We haven't done it lately, but when everybody's asking you to donate something to us on an auction,
Yeah.
we donate a home evaluation or a staging consultation. And
Make it a big certificate.
Yes.
Yes.
That's exactly what
Yeah.
we did. It was making.
I think it was a staging consultation. It was
Staging
not a free
A free
evaluation.
evaluation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it worked.
But it worked, yeah.
Yeah, for somebody.
And then you're making a new connection. Yeah.
I don't think it was a silent auction. I think it was a prize for
Your
something.
registry school.
I know, but did people have to buy it? I don't think people had to buy your free
I
service.
don't think so. I don't know.
But it was an offering and it got attention, it got eyeballs, and it creates, again, just another impression, right? Yeah. Goal setting to the now. Okay.
Did anyone on the call have ideas? I know people are newer, but maybe. All good, everyone. I feel bad that.
Without seeing the faces,
I
don't
know.
how you don't know if you're communicating.
So this is a screenshot of Command, if you are familiar or not familiar with it. And so, using these smart plans to curate your own 36 touch points for your contacts. And again, if you don't have to use Command solely, you can do a nice little hybrid, which it sounds like what you guys do for your business.
Well, you have to use command for compliance. Right?
Yes.
So,
But for database management,
Yeah.
I guess you can kind of,
You can very easily just take ideas from Command and.
command's easier for new people
yeah,
because having been at it for 5 or 6 years
Yeah.
and it didn't start out the way it was supposed to. You got burnt a couple of times. But if you were new, it got it to a point where it's
Yeah.
quite good.
and it has lots of function. So so you can go in, there's your smart plans are there, there's a smart plan library. You can download the smart plans into your own personal library, and then you attach those smart plans to your contacts. And I'm sure they'll be doing a course. They do Command courses at the brokerage.
I haven't been using it lately, but
Yeah.
it had a pretty good social media advertising. Facebook ads were pretty easy on there.
Yes, and actually, I think, speaking of like online, there is a whole YouTube, if you go onto YouTube, You can find lots of step-by-step information on, and that's through like Keller Williams command, and it'll walk you through it. Ahas. We're coming to the end. I'm just trying to like, yeah. Okay, so throughout today's course, any ahas, anything meaningful? We're coming to a close. Any ideas?
I'm trying to find a good one I found.
Yeah.
Two
Go
more
through your
people
notes.
than you did on.
Yeah.
Okay, nine right now, you had 7. It's just getting good.
Yeah, it popped in at the end. Anybody online, get any kind of tidbits from today, ideas that maybe you hadn't thought of before?
Just like the huge emphasis on nurturing your leads.
Just the whole process in general. Like
Yeah.
once you get a lead, what do I do with it? And giving all of the breakdown of,
And
Kind of the-
continuing to nurture it even after the transaction has ended.
no, that's great. Yeah, it's like this is a bit of a roadmap on how to continue having your business like a rinse and repeat.
A good one I found on Command a while ago is the group is called Georgia Legacy Group. So
Okay,
I think it's a brokerage that their tech department put this together for agents to use. But they actually have YouTube videos. So they divided it into 4 different segments. So it's one smart plan, but it's 4 separate, so like quarterly.
Okay.
But they walk you through what all of the emails look like and what you should customize. But I like that it's a YouTube video, and then you just go find the template in Command.
and do it yourself. And then,
I hope everyone knows how to find templates, but I found that a while ago and I thought, like, if they've actually put graphics in and everything, like, they're really
Okay.
well developed, even if you don't use theirs specifically, like,
right,
what it could look like.
is it 36 touches or what does it say?
It's 36, it's probably a little more,
Yeah.
but it's a 36, and
Cool.
they did a 2023 one, they did a 2024 one, I assume they had a 2025 one,
Okay, I'm gonna get that information.
I'll write it down. Or I
Yeah,
will.
so I can find them. Yeah,
But it's Georgia Legacy Group, if anyone, I just typed it into Google and it came up as a YouTube video. Sometimes it's not hard, it's overwhelming because there's so much stuff in Command.
yeah,
I just
Yeah.
outside of
Try to-
it back in.
filter, all the smart plans, because there's lots of smart plans. And you
So
can
many.
upload, and anybody can kind of upload to share. So you do have to kind of weed through like what's a good one. Yeah. We've seen this quote before, but they're trying to
Drive it
reinforce.
home.
Yeah. Again, just trying to, I guess, get out of your own way and,
There's so many quotes, so.
Yeah.
One that goes hand in hand with that one is,
Yeah.
people don't care what you know, so they know that you care. Like,
that's a
there's
nice,
just so many.
nice warm
Agents
and
are
fuzzy.
looking for somebody to say, I want to sell my house, as
Yeah.
opposed to nurture.
Yes. Yeah, there's lots of real estate salespeople
Right.
out there. And I think where you can come across as different is to have that, that attribute of where it does feel like you care. Yeah, and I think that's really important. And if you can bring that forth in your business, I think, you'll have a really successful, thriving real estate career. Because when you care, people know.
Totally.
Yeah.
And when you don't care.
And yes, exactly. Yes, it goes both ways. Yeah. Celebrate successes. Get help. So using Command and Connect, there's tons of different tech videos. So Alicia, like kind of like what you're saying.
I'm gonna try
find
to put it in the group chat.
Okay. Yeah, so if you have any questions about, what ways can I nurture my database and nurture those leads, going into Command, going into KW Connect, there is a ton of resources in KW Connect. You could go down that rabbit hole and spend a lot of time there. But you can do, there's searches, so you can look, there's so much material that you can use to build on your individual business and nurture your database. There's tons of it.
There's a document in there for everything.
Yes, there's an abundance of, so. Good. And final ahas. This is our last slide. We went almost to 7 o'clock. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions? People online? Any questions or ahas for what you learned today? Thank you.
I don't have any questions. I think it's really great information that it reinforces some of the stuff that I've been learning and trying to practice. A lot of good points. And if I could just mention, my surprising thing with leads is from open houses, the connections that you make with people. It's surprising, like weeks, months later, they come around and connect with or get in touch with you and say, oh, we met and I really liked you, or what have you, the conversation is. But that really surprised me.
And that's awesome, because that's exactly what we've been talking about, is that you don't know someone's timeline. Exactly. Yeah. You've made that connection. You've obviously left a positive, lasting impression that they've remembered you. But continuing to nurture, even if just soft touches throughout that time span, to increase the chance that they are going to come back. And even if you feel like they're ghosting you and you're not getting responses to every piece of, communication or information that you're sending out, because you don't know when they're going to come back to you with a comment like that, which is really lovely.
And your career is a business. So for $20 a month, you get ChatGPT. You can build profiles on every one of these people, especially if you're not busy.
Yeah.
And then when you say type an email to this person, it'll give you a good. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I use it so much now.
Do you?
Oh, totally.
Yeah. Feel like it returned to a robot. Yeah.
Yeah. You still have to do some preliminary work.
Absolutely.
Most of us aren't good writers, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it gives you a great.
You can say write it in a friendly tone, write it in a business tone.
Yeah, you can be very specific and
But now they allow you to do folders, so you can build profiles on each person. It doesn't disappear.
Well, even for those people that you don't necessarily have have a clear connection with, I like to think of it as why not? You're not losing anything,
Right.
so why not?
Yeah.
It's so easy to put in a ChatGPT the last conversation you had and say, what's a reasonable follow-up that doesn't sound too pushy, but also sounds like I'm providing value.
Fantastic.
Especially if you've already uploaded to the ChatGPT, why, what makes you as a realtor special, your team's value proposition, it just incorporates it into your language.
Yeah, I've never thought to ask it for a follow-up.
We use it a lot.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, that's great.
And then you just tweak it in case it doesn't sound like you.
Right. Yes. Yeah. If it sounds like a little unnatural or something that you could be out of character for you.
Just if I had to write a long email, I probably wouldn't do it.
Right.
You'd go do something,
Yes.
But the fact that you just say do this and then get a footprint, you just
yeah.
do it at that
Right.
point.
And
Yeah.
younger people know it's ChatGPT, or not know, are better at, they're more hesitant. Older people, though, will totally think you took the time to write out a massive, how is your cat? I know your cat's name is, they will.
Right. Yeah.
The only reason you know is you were so worried about getting caught cheating in university.
That's not true.
Thank you, Allison.
And then can I do an aha? Sorry.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I I think my aha is not discarding leads that you don't need to have high value. Like, it's so easy to stay in touch, even if you just think it's a one-way conversation, because you never know when all of a sudden they're going to jump out and want you. But I think you tell a story where
So many stories.
I know, but I think there was a closing. It was not your buyer, it was your listing. But then on closing, the house had closed, all parties were no longer representing, and they called and said, we need help with the garage door opener. So you ended up going and helping them.
Okay.
You're in front of them, you have their phone number,
I became a
just puts them in the database, they get tripped on, there's no personal communication, but it's just consistent.
I had another one similar to that where instead of the agent dealing with it, he said, oh, just call Dave directly and then I got a client because I was smart enough to put.
And
Yeah.
you think it's really hard and that we're all dealing with these like super amazing, hardcore, 100% all the time agents, when it really like so much of the business is done by so little agents.
Yeah.
And like the bar, not that the bar is low, but a lot of agents do not stay in touch with their people. So even what you think is like, sometimes I think, oh, I wish I had this super awesome stellar marketing plan like Paris team or whatever. But a lot of the other agents out there are just working with what they have.
Right.
And sometimes they're not taught to nurture. So
Yeah.
But I would say this to everybody out there, it's free information. This session will make you rich. All the other ones will just make you better.
Yeah.
But this one is how you will survive in real estate.
Yeah.
Lead generating and nurturing.
and never taking your foot off of the non-constant leads too.
Yeah.
It's like-
Consistency.
Yeah,
It's
always.
Yeah.
It's like, don't just put your, like, because if 90 days from now is what, like, your income is 90 days from what you're doing right now, people get so busy, they take their foot off the lead generation pedal, and then in 90 days from now, they're like, where's all my business?
Right.
Which way can you coach?
Yeah.
It's about staying consistent even when.
Yes. Which is why the time blocking and making it as systematic as possible to know what those touches are going to be for you. Whatever plan you come up with that's personal to your business, having that consistency. Even when you're busy, carve out, even if it's an hour, 2 hours, just so you're still doing those nurturing and
Totally.
and a lot of it, if you're using a CRM and if you're on command, it's automated.
Mhm.
So you're still, even if you do bare minimum, you can automate quite a bit of it that you're still getting all of,
But it takes time to automate.
Yeah,
You have to put
yeah.
time into it.
so
Yeah.
set it up.
And if you only do 10 or 15 deals a year, you have a lot of free time
Yeah.
to do all these.
Yes.
things.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
realtors are the busiest money out there.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, everybody who logged on online.
It's nice not meeting you all.
I appreciate it very much.
Next time. I was gonna say thank you for the
you.
words of encouragement and advice. I think it's the structure and how easy it is to take your foot off of the pedal, you know, when you're not getting the bites and stuff. So it was good motivation at the end of the session. So thank you.
And on the time blocking thing, I've recently started doing this, which is why I'm saying this, not because I'm a pro, but put stuff on your calendar. Like when it's on your calendar, it gets done. I've started scheduling appointments with myself where,
And she shows up.
but like, you know, it's okay to say on your calendar, I'm going to spend an hour following up with my hot leads. And then I'm going to sit and make a list of all the people that are at my wedding and reach out to them for an hour and just do it consistently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's consistency with everything. So thank you for that, guys.
Yeah, and I highly recommend doing as part of your time blocking and doing a 411.
Totally.
Everybody should be doing a 411. If you don't know what that is, you can reach out to me and I can send, actually Dave Graham has a template, but I can send it to you too. Essentially, it's putting all your tasks you have your goals for the year, for the month, and for the week, and then you're breaking down into daily tasks. So you're able to stay on top of your goals. And I put my lead nurture in my 411
Totally.
every single day. And so it's there.
And it's,
Yeah.
So 15 years, I've never done a goal setting, and Alicia's made me, and I
Yeah.
found it to be one of the most useful
yeah,
things.
Dave just did his first one.
No
I find it
way.
the most useful thing I've
Yes.
ever done.
But
Yeah.
what's also really valuable in it is that it forces you to say, these are my priorities. So when you have, as a realtor, it's so easy to have things
Oh.
coming at you left, right, and center.
Yeah.
And it's really easy when you have a plan in front of you to say, hey, I think this is gonna be helpful, but really when I look at what's really important on my sheet, it's actually not helping me achieve anything.
Yes.
Like if your
Yeah.
goal is to have a 36 touch established and you're sitting there like, oh, working on a Google ad or
Right.
something, it's
Yeah.
both productive, but you've already committed to one goal that's in front of you.
Yeah.
That's why I like it. Oh, sorry.
You can only coast as much. You
You can only coast going downhill.
So thank you so much, everybody. If nobody has anything else, we will come to a close. It is, just before 7:00.
What is next week's session? Does anyone know? I hope everyone's here in person next week. I'd love to meet you. I think it's, is it next week? Is it not next week? Oh, next
Do they
week might
have
be.
one over March
March
break?
break, yeah.
Sorry, I don't think there's one next week.
I'm actually not sure.
Whatever the next one is, I'd love to
Yeah.
meet everyone.
Come in person, everyone.
Come say hi.
If there's not a first time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Thank
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 you.
you. Good night, everyone.
Good
night.
That was really good, Allison. Sorry that we talk so much. I did not
No,
mean, I just like.
loved it.
What's next? You can talk to
Thank
people.
Everybody's, don't know how to leave that meeting. Is that our VA?
Yeah, actually, to answer your question, there is an Ignite session for next week. Yes.
Oh, there is
Oh, there
one?
is?
Okay. Thank you.
On 12th. Yeah. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Bye for now.
Bye.